The grocery store clerk handed Margaret her receipt. As she picked up her bags, she felt it, a tightness in her chest. Not pain exactly, pressure, like someone had placed a heavy book across her ribs. She paused, took a breath. The sensation faded. She convinced herself it was nothing. 2 weeks later, she was on my operating table. Her heart had betrayed her, but here's what nobody tells you. It wasn't the heart that failed first. It was 5 ordinary habits she didn't know were deadly. Stay with me. What I'm about to share could save your life. Margaret walked into my office 3 months before her heart attack. She wanted reassurance. Her cholesterol was borderline. Her blood pressure was creeping up. She asked what she needed to change. I gave her the standard advice. Watch your salt. Exercise more. Lose a few pounds. She nodded. She left. I never told her about the 5 things that actually kill people after 60. Why? Because the system doesn't give me time. 15-minute appointments. A waiting room full of patients. Insurance codes that pay for prescriptions, not prevention. The system rewards the prescription, not the follow-up. I'm Dr. Richard Hayes, cardiothoracic surgeon, 32 years in the operating room. I've opened over 2,000 chests in my career. I've held beating hearts in my hands. I've seen what works and what doesn't. And I've watched the medical establishment focus on the wrong things while people die from habits so common, so seemingly harmless, that nobody bothers to mention them. Here's what nobody tells you. Your body after 60 is fundamentally different from your body at 40. Not weaker, different. Your heart has been beating without rest for over 2 billion times. The electrical system that controls each beat has developed its own patterns, its own vulnerabilities. Your blood vessels have lost elasticity. They're not flexible pipes anymore. They're rigid tubes that can't adapt the way they used to. Think of it like an old garden hose. When it's new, you can bend it anywhere. After years in the sun, it cracks if you bend it wrong. Your arteries are the same. And the habits that were harmless at 40 become deadly at 65. The statistics are brutal. After age 60, your risk of sudden cardiac death doubles every 5 years. Not because your heart is weaker, because the margin for error has disappeared. One study from the Framingham Heart Research showed that 73% of people who died from heart attacks had been to their doctor within the previous month. They'd been cleared, told everything was fine. Then they went home and continued the exact habits that killed them. Let me show you what I mean. The first habit is the one Margaret couldn't break: skipping breakfast after taking blood pressure medication. Sounds harmless, right? Here's the mechanism. When you take blood pressure medication on an empty stomach, especially ACE inhibitors or beta blockers, your blood pressure drops fast, too fast. Your body compensates by releasing stress hormones, adrenaline, cortisol. Your heart rate spikes. Your blood vessels constrict. You've just created the perfect conditions for a cardiac event, and you don't even know it's happening because you feel fine. Your 60-year-old heart can't recover from those spikes the way a 40-year-old heart can. The electrical system misfires. The rhythm destabilizes. Margaret took her medication at 7 a, with a glass of water. By 9 a, her blood pressure had dropped 30 points. Her body panicked. Her heart tried to compensate. It couldn't. The sustained stress on her coronary arteries over months created microscopic tears. Plaque built up at the tear sites. Eventually, one of those plaques ruptured. That's what caused the heart attack. Not high cholesterol, not lack of exercise. A breakfast she didn't eat. Write that down. If you take blood pressure medication, eat something within 30 minutes. It doesn't have to be a full meal. Half a banana, a handful of nuts, a piece of toast, something to stabilize the drop. That simple change has saved more lives than I can count. I've had patients argue with me about this. They say they're not hungry in the morning. They say eating makes them feel sick. They say they've been doing it this way for years and they're fine. And I understand. Changing habits is hard, especially when those habits feel harmless. But here's what I tell them. Your body is giving you signals you're not trained to recognize. That loss of appetite in the morning, that's not normal. That's your body in stress mode. The nausea you feel when you eat, that's your blood pressure regulation failing. Those symptoms aren't separate from the problem. They are the problem. They're your early warning system, and you're ignoring it. Margaret ignored those signals for months. She'd feel dizzy sometimes after taking her medication. She'd sit down until it passed. She thought it was normal. Low blood pressure runs in her family. Everyone gets dizzy sometimes, except it wasn't normal. It was her body screaming for help in the only language it knows, and she didn't speak the language. Nobody taught her. The system assumes you'll figure it out. But how are you supposed to figure out something nobody ever explains? The second habit is sitting for more than 2 hours after lunch. I see this in every patient over 65. They eat lunch. They feel tired. They sit down to watch television or read the paper. 2 hours pass. 3 hours. They don't move. Here's what's happening inside your body. After you eat, especially a meal with carbohydrates, your blood sugar rises. Your body releases insulin. Blood flow to your digestive system increases. Blood flow to your extremities decreases. Your blood starts to pool in your legs. In younger people, this isn't a problem. Muscle contractions keep the blood moving. But after 60, your calf muscles lose strength. They don't pump as efficiently. The blood sits there. It thickens. It clots. I had a patient named Robert, retired accountant, healthy by all standard measures. He ate lunch every day at noon. Then he'd settle into his recliner to read. By 3 p. He'd get up to make coffee. One afternoon, he stood up and felt dizzy, sat back down, waited, stood up again. This time, he made it to the kitchen, collapsed. His wife called 911. By the time the paramedics arrived, a blood clot had traveled from his leg to his lungs, pulmonary embolism. He survived, barely. The habit that nearly killed him? Sitting still for 3 hours after eating. Your heart after 60 needs movement to stay alive. Not exercise, movement. After every meal, walk for 5 minutes. Around the house, up and down the stairs, outside if the weather's good. Just move. The muscle contractions in your legs pump blood back to your heart. They prevent pooling. They prevent clots. It's the simplest intervention with the biggest impact, and nobody tells you to do it because it doesn't require a prescription. Think about what happens in your body when you sit still. Blood flows down to your legs with every heartbeat. Gravity pulls it down. In a younger person, the valves in your leg veins and the strength of your calf muscles push that blood back up. It's a constant cycle. But after 60, those valves weaken. They don't close as tightly. Blood leaks backward. It pools in your lower legs. Your ankles swell. You think it's just aging. It's not. It's stagnation. And stagnant blood clots. Robert didn't know any of this. He thought sitting was rest. He thought his body needed rest after eating. What his body needed was movement. 5 minutes would have saved him. 5 minutes of walking would have kept his blood moving, his valves working, his risk minimal. Instead, he nearly died because nobody explained the mechanism. Nobody told him that rest and movement aren't opposites after 60. They're partners. You need both. But you need them at the right times. Here's where this gets interesting. Stay with me. The third habit is the one that surprises everyone. Drinking cold water first thing in the morning. You've heard you should drink water when you wake up. Hydration is good, that's true. But cold water is a shock to your system, especially after 60. Here's why. When you sleep, your heart rate slows, your blood pressure drops. Your body enters a state of rest. When you wake up, your system needs time to transition back. If you drink cold water, your body reacts as if it's been plunged into ice. Your blood vessels constrict, your heart rate jumps, your blood pressure spikes. That spike is dangerous. The mechanism is called cold-induced vasoconstriction. Your body is trying to preserve core temperature. It pulls blood away from your skin and extremities. It concentrates blood flow to vital organs. Your heart has to work harder to pump blood through constricted vessels. If you have any plaque buildup in your coronary arteries, that increased pressure can dislodge it. The plaque fragment travels downstream. It blocks a smaller vessel. Heart attack. This happens most often between 6 a.m. and noon. Cardiologists call it the morning surge. Most heart attacks occur during this window, not because people are stressed, because their bodies are transitioning from sleep to waking, and small habits turn that transition into a crisis. I treated a woman named Ellen, 71 years old, marathon runner in her 40s, still active. She had a habit of drinking a full glass of ice water every morning as soon as she woke up. She'd read it was good for metabolism. One morning, she drank her water, felt a flutter in her chest, ignored it. 30 minutes later, she was unconscious on her bathroom floor. Her husband found her, called an ambulance. We got her to the hospital in time. Barely. The autopsy on the plaque fragment showed it had been sitting in her coronary artery for years. The cold water spike dislodged it. The fix is embarrassingly simple. Drink room temperature water or warm water with lemon. Give your body a gentle transition. Let your heart rate rise naturally. Starting tonight, leave a glass of water on your nightstand. It'll be room temperature by morning. That's the water you drink first. Later, after you've been awake for 30 minutes, drink whatever temperature you want. Those 30 minutes make all the difference. I know this sounds too simple to matter. That's what my patients say. How can the temperature of water make a difference? But I've seen the data. A study from the European Heart Journal tracked morning cardiac events over 5 years. They found that sudden temperature changes, including cold water consumption, triggered arrhythmias in 68% of cases studied. The mechanism is real. The danger is real. Your heart doesn't know you're just trying to hydrate. It only knows it's under stress. And after 60, stress kills. The fourth habit is taking non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs for joint pain. Ibuprofen, naproxen. Aspirin doesn't count. Aspirin thins the blood. NSAIDs do the opposite. They interfere with blood flow regulation. After 60, your kidneys don't filter as efficiently. NSAIDs build up in your system. They cause your blood vessels to retain sodium. Your blood pressure rises. Over time, this damages the lining of your arteries. It creates inflammation. That inflammation attracts cholesterol, plaque forms. The very medication you're taking for arthritis pain is setting up the conditions for a heart attack. I had a patient who took ibuprofen every morning for 20 years. He had knee pain from an old sports injury. The pain was manageable. The ibuprofen helped. He never thought twice about it. Then one day, he felt short of breath climbing stairs. He came in for a stress test. We found severe blockages in 2 coronary arteries. He was stunned. He didn't smoke. He wasn't overweight. His cholesterol was normal. How could this happen? The answer was in his medicine cabinet. 20 years of daily NSAIDs had created chronic low-grade inflammation in his arterial walls. The inflammation caused plaque buildup. The plaque narrowed his arteries. He was one missed step away from a heart attack. Here's what you need to know. If you're taking NSAIDs more than twice a week, you're in the danger zone. Switch to acetaminophen for pain. It doesn't affect your blood vessels the same way. Or try physical therapy, heat therapy, anything that addresses the pain without compromising your cardiovascular system. I know joint pain is real. I'm not dismissing it. I'm telling you, there are safer ways to manage it after 60. The research backs this up. The American Heart Association released guidelines in 2017, warning that NSAIDs increase heart attack risk by 20 to 50% in people over 65. That's not a small number. That's 1 in 2 people facing elevated risk from a medication they bought at the grocery store without a second thought. The FDA requires warning labels now. But who reads warning labels on ibuprofen? You've been taking it for decades. It's helped. Why would you stop? Because your body at 65 is not your body at 45. The same dose that helped your knee pain at 40 is destroying your arteries at 70. Your kidneys can't clear it fast enough. It accumulates, it damages, it kills. And nobody tells you to stop until it's too late. I'm telling you now, while you can still make a different choice, before the damage becomes irreversible, before you end up on my operating table. The 5th habit is the one nobody talks about because it feels like self-care. Taking melatonin or sleep aids regularly. Melatonin is natural. It's over the counter. It must be safe, right? Not after 60. Here's why. Melatonin affects your heart's electrical system. It slows your heart rate. That sounds good. But it also disrupts the natural rhythm. Your heart has a built-in pacemaker called the sinoatrial node. It fires electrical signals that tell your heart when to beat. Melatonin interferes with those signals. It creates what's called bradycardia, an abnormally slow heart rate. In younger people, this isn't a problem. Their hearts compensate. After 60, your sinoatrial node doesn't compensate as well. Your heart rate can drop too low during sleep. Your brain doesn't get enough oxygen. You wake up feeling groggy, foggy. You think you need more sleep. You take more melatonin. The cycle continues. Prescription sleep aids are worse. Ambien, Lunesta, benzodiazepines. They depress your central nervous system. They slow everything down, including your heart. I've seen patients whose heart rates dropped into the 30s during sleep because they were taking sleep medication. That's dangerously low. If your heart is already compromised, if you have any blockages or rhythm issues, that slow heart rate combined with restricted blood flow creates the conditions for sudden cardiac death during sleep. I treated a man named Paul, 74 years old, retired engineer. He'd been taking melatonin for insomnia for 5 years. Every night, 10 milligrams. He came in complaining of dizziness, fatigue. We ran tests. His heart rate was dropping to 40 beats per minute during sleep. His brain wasn't getting enough oxygen. He was at risk for a stroke. We took him off melatonin. Within 2 weeks, his heart rate normalized. His dizziness disappeared. The fatigue lifted. 5 years of what he thought was helping him was slowly killing him. If you can't sleep, the answer isn't medication. It's sleep hygiene. Go to bed at the same time every night. Keep your room cool. Avoid screens for an hour before bed. If you must take something, try magnesium glycinate. It relaxes muscles without affecting heart rhythm. Starting tonight, put the melatonin away. Give your heart a chance to beat the way it was designed to beat. Paul didn't know this. He thought melatonin was helping him. And in a way, it was. He fell asleep faster. He stayed asleep longer. But what was happening during that sleep was slowly destroying him. His heart rate dropping to dangerous levels. His oxygen saturation falling. His brain starving for blood flow. He'd wake up exhausted because his body had spent the night in crisis mode, trying to compensate for a heart beating too slowly to sustain life. Let me tell you what happened to Margaret. After her surgery, I sat down with her in the recovery room. I asked about her routine. She told me everything. The blood pressure medication on an empty stomach. The long afternoons in her chair after lunch. The glass of ice water every morning. The ibuprofen for her back pain. The melatonin at night. She was doing everything wrong. And she had no idea because nobody had ever told her. I've stood in operating rooms at 3 a.m., hands inside someone's chest, knowing that if their family had received this information 6 months earlier, I wouldn't be there. I've watched families in waiting rooms holding each other, praying, while I scrub in to save someone who didn't need saving if they'd just known. These aren't dramatic failures. These are ordinary habits compounded over time. And the system doesn't catch them because the system isn't designed to catch them. Margaret made a full recovery. She changed everything. She eats breakfast with her medication now. She walks after every meal. She drinks room temperature water. She switched from ibuprofen to physical therapy for her back. She stopped taking melatonin and started a sleep routine instead. 6 months later, she came back for a follow-up. Her heart function had improved. Her blood pressure was stable without increasing medication. She looked 10 years younger. She told me something I'll never forget. She said, "I wish someone had told me this before. I would have listened. I just didn't know." That question has stayed with me. How many people are walking around right now doing these same 5 things, not knowing they're setting themselves up for disaster? How many could be saved with information this simple? Let me give you those 5 habits one more time. Write them down. Share them with someone who needs to hear this. Number 1, never take blood pressure medication on an empty stomach. Eat something within 30 minutes of taking your medication. Half a banana, a handful of nuts, something to stabilize the drop. Number 2, never sit for more than 2 hours after eating. Walk for 5 minutes after every meal, around the house, up and down the stairs. Just move, keep the blood flowing. Number 3, never drink cold water first thing in the morning. Room temperature water, warm water with lemon. Give your body a gentle transition from sleep to waking. Number 4, never take NSAIDs more than twice a week for pain management. Switch to acetaminophen. Try physical therapy, heat therapy. Protect your cardiovascular system. Number 5, never rely on melatonin or sleep aids for regular sleep. Fix your sleep hygiene instead. Same bedtime, cool room, no screens. Let your heart maintain its natural rhythm. These 5 habits, that's it. No expensive treatments, no complicated protocols, just simple changes that protect your heart after 60. Here's my question for you. Which of these 5 habits have you been doing without knowing the risk? Which one hits closest to home? Leave a comment. Tell me which one surprised you most. I read every comment. This channel exists because people like you share what works and what doesn't. Your experience helps someone else. If this information helped you, share this video with someone who needs it. Your friend, your spouse, your parent, someone over 60 who might be making these same mistakes right now. One share could save a life. And if you want more information like this, information your doctor doesn't have time to tell you, subscribe to this channel. Click the notification bell. Every week, I share what the system won't. The small details that make the difference between living well and barely surviving. Your heart has been working for you every single minute of every single day since before you were born. It's kept you alive through everything. Joy, grief, stress, celebration. It's never stopped, never complained, never asked for a break. The least you can do is protect it from the habits that destroy it. Starting tonight, starting now. Let me be clear about something. I'm a surgeon, not a fortune teller. I can't predict what will happen to your heart. What I can tell you is what I've seen in 32 years of practice. The people who make these changes, who take these warnings seriously, they do better. They live longer. They avoid the operating table. The people who ignore them, who think it won't happen to them, I meet them eventually, usually when it's almost too late. I'd rather give you this information now, when you can still use it, than have you learn it the hard way. The choice is yours, but please, make it an informed one.